Konnichiwa, fishes! What's up, everyone? Got a quick little mail call video for you guys as a prep for my upcoming Eastbound and Up tour. Currently in the LA Long Beach area right now, just prepping gear, getting ready for a little road tour. And as the name implies, I will be heading straight east from here, going through Arizona, Texas, and then straight up to the Midwest. Some Wisconsin, Minnesota, South Dakota, and made a quick little refill order on some products that I've been fishing, and a couple of new pieces to the arsenal that I feel is gonna do really well on this trip. As we head east through Texas, I'm gonna have a little bit of time to fish in Central Texas and East Texas before shooting straight up north. So this is the time of year when you typically have a lot of shallow fish in that part of the country. Shad spawns going on. Usually coincides with the end of the largemouth spawn. So you have fish still in all three phases of the spawn, but for the most part, there's a good population in post-spawn. Those fish tend to be hungry. They tend to bite well on reaction baits. So as you can see here from this spread, it's almost all reaction baits here. The first bait I'm going to talk to you guys about is the Ito Shiner. Most people by now are at least aware of the Vision 110 jerkbait. However, a lot of people are still unaware of this particular jerkbait. Now, what I love about this bait in particular is its size and profile. So let's just pull out a standard 110 here just to compare and contrast. Okay, it's about the same length, maybe a little bit longer, but the real difference is the bulk. It might not seem like a lot of difference here, but that larger presence in the water has proven to draw bigger bites for me, especially fishing around smallmouth. The different body shape creates a whole different swimming action. I can't say that it's more erratic or it's more this and that, but it's definitely different. There are times when fish will show a preference for one style over the other. So if I'm on a solid jerkbait bite, you're gonna see both these baits tied on the deck, and I'm gonna alternate them throughout the day in different conditions and let the fish answer the question of which one they want. But the 110 typically fishes well in 6 feet of water or less for me. The nice thing about the Shiner is that it gets down deeper than a standard 110. Pretty close actually to the diving depth of a +1. So this also gets down a little bit deeper on the same kind of gear, and it's got that bigger profile. You guys that haven't fished this bait need to at least try one once in a while. And this is one of my favorite patterns for low light and off color situations, you know, especially like in, like, let's say Lake Fork, for example. Any of that tannic, reddish, red clay bottom stuff, Clear Lake, Pudding Stone, anywhere you got dirty water, or first thing in the morning, last part of the day, this sexy French pearl just really stands out, but at the same time is still natural. Great bait right there. Another favorite color of mine is the Ozark Shad. That's Megabass's version of a chrome blackback bait right there. This is one of the first colors growing up as a kid that I gained confidence with on a hardbait. And that was a 1/4 ounce mini trap. This is the one I picked over all that blue stuff that I keep talking about. And it catches them, especially in dirty water. It's a very underutilized bait because, let's be honest, it's not as sexy or as appealing as an MG vegetation reactor or an Akatora or even this KT Kenihara. You know, it's a simplistic design. I'm sorry, it's a simplistic pattern, but fish bite it. Catches a lot of light. Still looks very bait fishy with the, you know, standard dark back and chrome sides with the white belly. Underrated, both the lure and the color. Dirty water, guys. That's money. And of course, I can't be venturing into the land of giant smallmouth where they eat yellow perch without the GG perch. That's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, that's bass fishing version of matching the hatch. I've caught lots of little perch on jerkbaits and stuff that are about this size. So that's going to mimic that dominant prey species quite nicely. And I also fished this in California. This is also a good low light color, dirty water color. We don't have any perch here, but guess what? We don't have any of these out here either, and they bite this stuff, right? How many times have you seen a school of blue and chartreuse anything swimming through the water? Not very often, I'm guessing. Ito Shiner. Give it a shot. You won't regret it. All right, up next. That brings us to the standard 110s. Okay, this pattern right here is one of my absolute favorites. And this is the HT Kenihara color. It's just a overall general bait fish imitation. It's got the greens, the browns, a little purple on the tail, pearl belly. One of my favorite colors now. And it's kind of almost a spin-off of all the Wagasaki colors that I used to love and still do. That thing is sick. That's a confidence lure right there for me, guys. And then on the other end of the spectrum is this Akatora. You know, we've been on a tear with the 110 the last several weeks here, fishing in and around pre-spawn, spawn fish, and now some post-spawn fish now that I got to get out in Southern California a little bit. But anytime I had real low light conditions, cloudy weather, rain, dirty water, we smacked them on the Ito Illusion, which is a limited run color. And I only had 3 to start with. Broke one off, had another one crack when I casted it up on the bank, and I'm down to 1. So this Akatora was probably the closest thing I could find. And it's a perfect example of eliciting just straight reaction bites from these fish. Obviously not really trying to mimic any particular forage. This isn't a match the hatch concept here. This is a straight reaction bait where this thing is aggressively darting, ripping in and around their beds, around their face. This is fish getting angry and smacking this thing, not trying to necessarily eat it. And especially with big smallmouth, I think that's going to be the case more often than not as we travel up through the north on this eastbound and up tour. And that's just an OG Megabass pattern right there, the crackle back. Like, how cool is that? That's going to be a fun bait to fish and a fun bait to get shots and pictures of for you guys. Super rad. Okay, and this right here is this bad boy right here is a GLXS Spring Reaction. So it's still got a little bit of color, but it's pretty, you know, it's pretty subtle. A little bit of a subdued color. If I'm gonna get in some super clear water, and I don't have a lot of condition, maybe just a light 2 to 5 mile an hour wind, you know, the super high sun, this is a pattern I'm gonna reach for. You gotta remember that most bait fish want to blend in with their environment, and these translucent see-through patterns effectively mimic that. That one's gonna be fun. Gosh, I'm just gonna leave that one out. And then bam, look at that thing. This is the MG Vegetation Reactor. And as the name implies, this is a straight reaction color. Same situations where I'd throw this thing, I'm gonna be trying this. Even in super clear water, you guys would be surprised at how well they'll strike at these baits in the right conditions when the fish are in the right mood. Well, how do you know when that is? Well, you gotta try it. Like, that's the simplest answer I could ever give you guys. How did I learn all this stuff? By trying it. Don't be afraid to experiment. Use what you find through platforms like YouTube as a base and a foundation, but continue to build on that on your own. I'm going to give you guys as many shortcuts as I can to kind of steer you in that right direction, but don't take anything that I say or anybody else says as 100% fact. Get out there, conduct your own scientific experiments, and figure out what works for you. I'm just sharing with you guys what works for us. And this thing is going to work in dirty water, clear water, but more importantly, low light. Cloudy days, heavy wind, 15 to 25 mile an hour sustained winds. Those fish will be perked up, oxygen content will be up. They're not going to be able to see as well. They're going to smack this. That's a fun one right there.
I don't want to write this down. I don't want to tell you how I feel right now. I don't want to take no time to write this down. I want to tell you how I feel right now. Hey, tomorrow may never